Welcome to Bleacher Talk, a show for the fans hoping for a championship. I'm your host, Emma Gerges. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Darryl Peterson. Thank you for having me.
Darryl, we have watched you play at Wisconsin over the last few years as a Minnesota fan. I have been to several of those games. So I am interested to hear about this draft process going through your past, growing up playing football throughout your entire career, and now heading into the pros, hopefully. So you grew up in Ohio. What did football mean in your household growing up?
Oh, it meant a lot. Like even to like the women in my family, like my mom, grandma, like everybody takes football serious. We're always growing up. We were watching Ohio State every Saturday, watching the Browns every Sunday. I loved all the players. Josh Cribbs was my favorite player growing up. I loved him. Went to Kent State, back my backyard as well. So football meant a lot, and it was something I was always doing. Even when I wasn't in season, I was finding a way to still be around football.
At Archbishop Hoban, you put up ridiculous sack numbers, 21 as a junior, 17 and a half as a senior, I believe. When did you realize that you weren't just good at football, but you could play at the second level?
I want to say it was the year before I had that 21 sack season. So at the end of my sophomore season, I would kind of back up the whole entire season for the most part. And then that playoff run we won a state championship my sophomore year. And at the beginning of that playoff run, I got my first start. I had a sack on the very first play of the game. And I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
oh, this is kind of crazy. This is kind of cool. So I think through that playoff run, I kind of realized, like, okay, this kind of be my thing. Because at that time, I was still playing basketball as well.
Was it hard for you to give up basketball to commit to football?
At first, just because my dad played in college, my brother's really good, so we grew up together, training together, and things of that sort. So I think just from like the emotional part of it, yes, it was kind of hard to let go, but I knew I was better at football, so it was the right thing to do.
So you said that you had gone to the state championship while you were in high school. How did playing on a championship team shape the standard that you carry now?
To be honest, it really fueled my hate for losing. Because I really didn't do a lot of it in high school. So
Mhm.
even though it wasn't the same thing in college, I still hate it the same way. We were this type of team in high school. We lost one game in a year. It was kind of like, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
really learned to hate losing and to work hard for the things you want. So, in my high school, a lot of guys played Division I football, and I won state championship 3 out of the 4 years I was there. So that was the standard. I think that's something that I really want to take with me for the rest of my life, just to win in everything I do.
You had offers from plenty of Division One schools. What separated Wisconsin in your mind from other Big Ten schools, even?
I think the city more than anything. Football state, really football state, but everybody loves the Badgers. So I was recruited during COVID, so Wisconsin was one of the only places I was able to visit multiple times, and I was able to see a game day there. And I literally was there with my dad on a game day visit, and I'm like, this is where I'm coming, man. It was my very first offer in high school, so held a special place in my heart from that moment. And obviously, just the lakes. The summers in Madison, I think they're like no other. I'm biased, but I was really sold on all that stuff and the cheese curds, all that stuff, man. I like to eat, so all that
Okay.
stuff sold me, man. But, yeah, love all that stuff.
So, as a high school pass rusher, what part of your game were you most proud of? Like speed, power, technique?
Yeah, I'd say in high school I was really raw. I really would just watch videos and try stuff.
Hmm.
I really liked watching, obviously, like Miles Garrett, guys like that. When I found out I was going to Wisconsin, I started watching a lot of TJ Watt stuff and JJ Watt. My power was what I used a lot back then because that's all I knew. So I think that more than anything. But then towards the end of my senior year, I started to add some different moves I was seeing different guys do. So I definitely say my power more than anything. Yeah.
Who else did you model your game after, if you did, once you got to Madison?
Yeah, I think you can't help but talk about TJ Watt. That's what I really saw myself being. Obviously,
Okay.
different body type, different type of guy, but really watched a lot of him. And I was able to play with Nick Herbig, who plays for the
Yeah.
Steelers now. And he was my best friend. He's still my best friend, but we were to play together my first 2 years. So everything he did, I was like trying to do the exact same thing. Whether if he was doing a certain move, he ate a certain thing, I was trying to do exactly what he did. So I think I think those two guys for sure. And another pro that I really love to watch is Max Crosby. One thing I really took from him was just his motor. He plays super freaking hard, and that's something I want people to say about me when they watch my games and my tape is that he plays really hard. So I say those guys for sure.
In 2023, you led the team with 4.5 sacks, and in 25, you jumped to 6.5 sacks and 11.5 TFLs.
Yeah.
What clicked for you in this last season?
Yeah, I think I was definitely my coach did a great job of putting me in positions where I was best at. And some of it I wasn't even, okay with at first. Before the season, they're like, we're gonna have you doing some interior D line stuff. We'll put your hand in the dirt a little more. And at first, I've been playing stand up outside linebacker for 4 years at this point. So I'm like, my last year, it's a big risk doing some different stuff, putting on some more weight to do some different things. But I didn't even know I was really just going back to what I had been doing in high school. Once I got the hang of it and kind of got my body changed, it was really easy to pick up. And I think I was able to just be at my best because I was doing things I was really good at. Long story short.
Senior night against ranked Illinois, you had 3 sacks, PBUs, a forced fumble, and
Yeah.
you got Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. Do you
Yeah.
think that was the best game of your career?
I think so. I really do think so. It was the perfect way to go out. So yeah, I definitely said that was my best game.
You have played in battles at Michigan, Oregon,
Yeah.
Ohio State, a lot of big time offenses. What separates Big Ten offense from other teams that you might have played against?
More than anything, when you watch NFL games, I think the Big Ten is the closest thing to that in college. Not a lot of air raid, different things like that. It's really pro style football and things that you're going to see at the next levels. That's what I really think separates it from everybody else.
Is there anything that you are looking to progress throughout your training leading into the NFL?
I mean, I'm always played a man's game, but now it's really going to be a man's game. So continuing to just add strength and be as fast as I can because I'm going to get some big guys, out there. So just I think those things, just the strength, the speed, just continuing to just change my body. That when I go out there, I'll be ready on Sundays.
If an
Oh,
NFL
good.
GM was watching this interview right now, what would you say they are getting out of you heading into a team as a rookie?
Yeah, a guy who's going to lead, whether it be obviously I was a captain on my last team, so it can be in that vocal way. But I know I'm going to be a young guy when I get there, so who will lead with his actions is going to give you his best effort. It's going to be the same guy. If we're losing or if we're winning, I'm going to be really the same guy. I'm going to work hard and I'm going to go out there and going to make plays for him.
Where do you think you've grown the most from your redshirt year till now?
I'd say the most in my faith, really. Really, that was a big thing that I was able to get into my college career, and something that has really sustained me through the ups and the downs of a college career because I was at the same place for 5 years. I've seen a lot, been through a lot, done a lot, seen a lot of guys waver. I'm still able to stay the same, and I think I attribute that to my faith. So I'll definitely say that for sure.
Oh, I love that. What chip are you carrying into the league?
Everybody's labeled me as an undersized guy. Um, so I think just knowing and I think being able to go in there and show that I can do everything that a longer, bigger, maybe faster, stronger guy can do, I can go out there and do it at the same pace or even better than those guys. I'm gonna work hard for everything I can't do. So that's gonna be something I'm gonna take pride in, especially when I get there.
I've always had this question, seeing from the defensive perspective. What goes through your head when you know you're about to beat a tackle?
It's like it's so hard to explain, but I literally like my eyes like light up. They get so big. Like one of my sacks against Illinois in that game where I had three, I think it might have been the second one, I think, second or third one. I can't remember exactly, but I literally remember like, oh my God, he's right there. He's right there. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. Oh my God, I got him. So all that stuff's going through your head. And this is in like a second and a half span. So it's happening so fast, you don't really know how to react. I usually always black out when I get sacks.
Who would you say was the hardest offensive tackle that you've had to face in the Big Ten?
Um, I forget his name, but Ohio State, I think both their tackles are really good this year. I think it was their left tackle. I forget his name, but I think he was the best person in the conference that I played this year.
Is there a tackle that you would hope to line up against your first year in the NFL?
I think Trent Williams would be pretty cool. He's one of the best, so be able to just go against him and see where I rank up against a guy like that would definitely be awesome. And I'm gonna give him my best shot as many times as I get. So I think that would definitely be somebody I would be excited to go against.
Which quarterback was the most satisfying to sack throughout your career, if you can remember one?
Being an Ohio guy, every time we played Ohio State, I was able to sack. In 2023, I got to sack Kyle McCord.
Hmm.
So I think just being from Ohio, that was kind of special to be able to do that.
Hmm.
And I think this year, sacking Fernando Mendoza, obviously won the Heisman. So I
Yeah.
think when he won the Heisman, I was like, okay, like I wanted him to win because I had sacked him. So I say those two guys for sure.
Now, if you could sack one NFL QB in your rookie year, who would it be and why?
That's a great question. I need to start thinking about these things because it's going to have me to start manifesting it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely Patrick Mahomes. Uh,
Oh,
one of the goals is to be able to get one of the best guys is super special. And I say obviously being in Wisconsin, if Aaron Rodgers comes back for another year, sacking him would be pretty special too. I definitely I say him too.
okay. Well, as a Minnesota fan, I am fine with you doing that one. So, okay. Now, what is the loudest game that you had ever heard in Camp Randall?
I'd say when we played Oregon in 2024, it was like we lost the game 16-13, but having the number one team in the country on the ropes, I think that place was as loud as I've ever heard. It was at night too, so it was probably 10, 11 o'clock at night, and the place was rocking. So I definitely say that game.
Were there any other environments that you really enjoyed playing in?
I really enjoyed playing at Michigan. That atmosphere was really special and really cool. And definitely, I think playing like we played at Ohio State my redshirt freshman year. And they had like a blackout game. That game was at night too. It was on ABC. So I've been able to play some great atmospheres, and we were able to play at Alabama this past year. So that was cool too, being able to play in SEC Stadium on grass, which is really cool to play on grass. It feels a lot better on the knees and things to play on grass.
Okay, now one of the coolest traditions in college football, jump around. I'm only going to compliment this one time.
Yeah,
Now, as a now an outsider Wisconsin alum, would you
yeah,
say it is the best tradition in college football?
I think so, and I think being able to see some of the other ones like Mr. Brightside at Michigan and
Hmm.
Iowa do the wave and different things of that sort. I definitely think ours is the best college tradition. And when we play at night and they flicker the lights and things of that sort and it goes all red, I think it's the coolest thing ever. So I'm a little biased. I've seen some other things and I don't think anything's better than jump around.
And now, do you have any words of advice for younger athletes looking to make it this far in their career?
Yeah, I would just say just never stop. No matter what size you are, how big or how fast, how strong you are, just continue to put in the work and that'll take you a long way, not only just in sports, but in life.
Well, thank you so much for joining me for Bleacher Talk.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to see how your career goes as you head into the pros.
Thank you. I appreciate it.